live in the house. Just having some issues getting the stream to connect, but we're on. Welcome on in. How you all doing? So, got a awesome session set up for you today. It's all about the dream vision of the music industry, how music lovers and musicians can create a future that works really well for them, and how to maximize all the good things that we love about music and connecting as musicians and music lovers, and how to basically, mitigate the downside of many of the things that the music industry brings into it. So, please take advantage of the chat. That's where, I'm going to be able to see what's happening. Mikael is in the house. Anon is in the house. Welcome in, Anon. Gav is in the house. Excellent. Great to have you all here. Appreciate you all being here. Okay, so I've got quite a bit to share, and so I might actually just jump into it pretty quick, because in the presentation I'll recap some of what we did last time and we'll get into it. So let me see if this is all going to work. Here we go. Let's try this. Here we go. Part 2, Dream Vision for Artists and Music Lovers. I'm going to talk pretty quick. Feel free to take notes, punch stuff into the chat. I'll be able to check in there from time to time, but otherwise I'm just going to sort of share what I have here, and it'll explain everything. So what are we doing today? We're actually going to be talking about culture, the importance of culture, what it is, my vision of an amazing culture and future, practical near-term vision, exploring more about culture, how to build it, what it is, because it's a pretty abstract idea, what role music plays in building culture, how can musicians and music lovers unite to make an awesome future together. That's what we want to do. And so gonna explore a couple of ideas and concepts, do a little bit of drawing. I love a good metaphor and schematic, so we'll do a bit of that, but also we'll do a little bit of visualization as well, which will be fun. And then Q&A. So anything I'm sharing, feel free to just share your thoughts, your comments. Love to hear anything you have to share. And also, if there's anything, if it brings up any questions or anything you want to ask me, feel free to do that. I can't guarantee I'll know the answers, but I will share what I know. So, and then we're going to do some live music. I just went and grabbed my guitar, so we'll play a little bit of music as well. All right, so some of you will know me. For people who don't know me, my name is Mijo Biscan. I've released 3 albums, 3 EPs, releasing an album at the moment. I've been playing music for 23 years. I've toured Australia and Europe. I've toured with Gautier, Missy Higgins, Clay Bowditch, Tommy Emmanuel Lior, and others. I'm a full-time gigging musician, and I do 47 million other things as well. All right, so before we start, so like I mentioned, this is a conversation. I really want to hear from you, so please chat with me. We'll do a Q&A at the end. The usual, I really highly recommend, if you're here, just be here doing this, rather than sort of splitting your attention too much. Turn everything else off. Tune in, be active in the chat as well, participate. You'll get more out of this experience, and it'll be better for everyone. Answer questions. If I pose a question, I'd love to actually hear from you in the chat. If you have something you want to share, take notes, be with us. That's the idea. Have fun. This will be fun. See, I bring Back to the Future into it, so it's got to be fun. One of the greatest movies ever. Well, the entire trilogy, the best. All right, so let's go back in time. So last week we covered what's the role of music in tribal times. This is also really known as culture. the rise of the music industry, its effects on musicians, music lovers and culture. We talked about record deals, just bad shenanigans that the industry has been up to over the last basically 100 years. Talked about streaming giants and just the situation of how that's great for them, not really great for artists, and what we can do about it as music lovers. I'm going to just blow through this really quickly, but I am going to reference this again later to contrast a couple of things. So, record labels, these are the highlights. Artists lose creative control. Your album can be shelved. You lose control with how to interact with fans. They own your music catalog. They own your publishing rights. They don't really develop artists anymore in the way they used to. They used to take, they'd be willing to cultivate an artist over 5 years, even 10 years. All right, the tricky trio. So, is this going to work here? Oh, look at this. I don't know how to change my pen, but we're going to go with red for now. Okay, so this up here, I covered this last week, but I'm going to quickly do it here. This is that's meant to be just an M. Music lover. And this is the musician. And so the idea is, before recorded music, these two could connect with each other. And then the industry basically put a big wedge between. So if the musician wanted to talk to or connect with the music lover, they had to take all these dollars. To get the dollars would have to sort of go back through the industry. And what has sort of eventuated since the internet is like this underground pipeline that we can talk to each other. But the thing is, this just isn't super developed yet, because the record labels and all that stuff sort of got out of the way. But this is sort of streaming has sort of taken this place here. So that's a very quick overview. I explained more in the previous one. But I just wanted to draw that to sort of contrast. And can I change the pen color here? Here we go. I can. All right. So I'm going to grab a black pen. Can I change the size of it? No. I don't think so. Anyway. Okay. So what I want to share today is the dynamic duo. So rather than having that tricky trio, we want to have, so the musician, rather than $, it's really going to be that. Musician, and here we've got the music lover. And the difference with this one is it's not a triangle, with someone getting in the way. This is more, the way that I think about this is more going back in time to a tribal connection, where back, in prehistory, musicians and music lovers were the same thing, basically. That in tribes, people played music, and everyone was involved in music creation. And if they weren't creating, they were there still participating in this circle. So if there's a performance happening, there's an audience, but it's circular, right? So what we want to do is find out what the musician has to offer the music lover and put these things in place here. And then in return, the music lover reciprocates, and this keeps the musician going. So this becomes more like a tribal circle. And these things are a couple of things. They provide authentic expression. So it's not just fake pop kind of stuff. It's real human expression. They provide connection. So they provide connection to the artist, but they also provide connection of the music lover to connect to themselves. The other thing is that they provide clarity and transparency. Is it transparency? And also community. If you think about a community event you went to, a big moment in someone's life, a wedding, even a funeral, a birthday party, and just ask yourself whether they had music as part of that. And I think the answer will be yes. Music is such an important part of all of the community aspects of our lives. And it is the connector, and it also is in here. There's a bunch of other things too. There's entertainment. Music is also entertaining and engaging. There's a million other things, and then as part of that, the music lover also provides connection back to the artist. Feedback, energy, ideas, and then obviously, compensation, and the idea is that this becomes this flowing energy that is self-sustaining in here, and it doesn't need anything from out here, the industry. We don't really... I'm just becoming more and more convinced that we just need the industry forces less and less and less in our lives. And the less of it we have, I really think the healthier the culture is. So that's that idea. I'd love to... I'm just going to check the chat really quickly. I'd love to hear from anyone in the chat. Let me know what you think about this thing I've just been drawing up. What are you seeing there? What do you think could be added? What feeling does it give you? Hopefully it gives you this feeling of like wholeness, that, and now, Anon, thanks for adding that in. We need to be our own music industry. Beautiful, exactly. Yeah, and I think we can do this under our own steam and on our own terms, that we can just sort of create an unspoken contract with each other as to what we want and what we don't want. And we'll do a bit more of that as well. Gav. A non-Gav. Cool. You're always on the money there, Gav. Good work. Excellent. All right, back to the presentation. So, culture. So, our relationship with culture is actually quite intangible and difficult to measure, which is quite frustrating. But it's also the beautiful thing about music and culture is that it is invisible and it is quite magical. Most of the time we're blind to our surrounding cultural norms and the way we relate to each other, media, music, and the community at large. If something is invisible to us, it's hard to change it. With our current artistic culture, we've come to accept a lot of things as being normal, which I discussed in the last live session, namely that musicians don't get a fair shake in the industry. Even though they create all the original and creative work, they are the last to be paid. So in the last session, I asked a few core questions. What is music for? What is culture for? Do we value money or culture? Do we value expression or money and fame? Do we value ethical treatment of people in the supply chain? Are we trying to make the culture healthier and more beneficial for everyone? Are we trying to hack the taste of music lovers through algorithms? So, culture. What is culture? How important is culture? Do we need to care about it? Do we need to consciously create culture? I think we do. What is the culture that we'd be proud of? This is sort of ultimately moving towards the ultimate vision, like what is a future culture that we would be proud to be a part of, and actually excited if if we could pull it off? And how do you do that in practical terms? So, human culture refers to the shared beliefs, values, customs, behaviors, and artifacts. So, what role does music play in developing culture? So, preserving cultural heritage and wisdom, fostering cultural diversity, enhancing social cohesion, stimulating creativity and innovation, promoting personal growth and well-being. So this is the role of music in culture. Music has been shown to have positive impacts on mental health and well-being, reducing stress and anxiety and improving mood and cognitive function. Learning to play music can also promote personal growth, self-discipline, and a sense of accomplishment. Music is my dojo. I've talked about this before. Being a musician has sort of allowed me to learn a lot about myself. That's what I mean about dojo. What aspect of music in culture do you resonate with the most? Are there any of those aspects that you feel that music plays a really important role for you personally? All right. Also, who are some artists you think do a good job of developing a positive culture? Someone that just popped into my mind was David Bowie. I think Prince is one of those people as well. I've just heard them talk really passionately and articulately about the importance of music in the culture and to make it good. What parts of the culture do we want to elevate, develop, and grow? So these are some of the key things that I've been focused on and identifying, which is authentic communication. I talked about authenticity before, which is just transparency and authenticity, and not trying to really create a perception of something different. And I think that's what the music industry is constantly doing, is really, what's the angle, what's the story we're going to tell about this person, how are we going to sell this artist. So I think just authenticity is the way of the future. Creativity, a focus on creativity rather than rehashing the same music for the last 10, 15 years. Connection, so again, authentic, honest, open, transparent connection. And the community, that's sort of, that community really comes out of the connection, that everyone in the community has a voice, everyone can say something. There's just like more of an even balance in the dynamic rather than, again, some huge industry versus some small indie artist or whatever. So, and what parts might we want to reduce or minimize in order to improve the culture? Like I said, superficiality, the commercial aspect as a primary goal. I think the commercial aspect has a role, but in the current culture, if I think about Spotify or major record labels, their highest priority really is the commercial aspect. The other stuff is sort of almost ancillary. It's just, okay, well, music is our product, but how we're going to make money doing this. All right. How do we build a beautiful culture that we're proud to be a part of? So we want a culture of shared values. It's the glue that connects us all together. In a world where everything is becoming increasingly atomized, siloed, polarized, separate, divided, how do we find our chosen tribe? How do you connect with your own shared values and share them with others? All right, so creating contrast. So when it comes to having a positive future vision, in the survey that I sent out, people actually had a difficult time answering the question, which is, what if you had a magic wand and you could wave that wand and create a positive music industry, what would that look like? And people were like, I don't know. And that's a fair response. And honestly, it's something I find challenging as well, because it seems like a really, really big challenge or problem, but I think there are some very clear, pretty simple solutions. So sometimes it's challenging to articulate what you want, but we usually know what we don't want. And then if you invert that, you usually reveal to yourself the thing you do want. So we're going to do a quick visualization. I want you to visualize a world with no music or culture. So just one morning you woke up and you just had no access to any of your music. None of your CDs worked. Your vinyl didn't work. Any digital music you had on your phone, MP3 files or whatever, none of it would play. You couldn't listen to any music on your phone. There was just you, and actually no one was allowed to create any new music, and they couldn't create live music. So now we're just living in a quiet, silent world where there's no music. And there never was, and you can't even think of the music. You can't even get a song in your head. Oh my God. Okay, so that's a world with no culture, or where the culture has been so devalued that it's just not even worth making music. To me, that just makes me feel so ill. And so by creating this contrast, we start to get a sense of the value of music, what it actually does bring to our world. And now we can explore its opposite. So what would the opposite of that be? The opposite of no music and like this just dull world to live in would be a world where we have really high quality music, as in the quality of the creativity and innovation is really exciting, and it's at the forefront, and it's authentic, and it's very human, and it's, this deep human creative expression, and it's connected to other, people who love it, music lovers or fans of music. And we have live performances where the fans and the musician can sort of interact and have, energy going back and forth, and you can have collaborations with those fans. There's so many amazing aspects to a positive vision that there could be streaming platforms that are ethical and really care for the creative artists who put their music on that platform, and they cultivate those artists, and they compensate them fairly, and they have initiatives to help those artists develop. Like, imagine if Spotify had a creative conference every quarter, every 3 months. And if you're an artist, you can attend this conference, and it's just this huge festival of thousands of artists, and there's live performances, and there are workshops, and you have amazing speakers, and there is, when you start to go to that opposite place of possibility, like I could literally just probably riff for half an hour about these types of initiatives. If we took every aspect of what's not working and we inverted it, and we said, what would be the ultimate best possible version of that in this world, we could actually create amazing, amazing things. And I think we should. And I think there are people out there exploring these options. And then it's sort of about conveying that value to people, which is what we're doing in this session, really, is just exploring the value of culture and a direction that we do want to go in. And I think without a vision, it's very difficult to take an action towards creating something if you don't know what it looks like, and you don't know how you want it to be, and you don't know how people are going to engage with it, and that sort of thing. So I would love to hear from you if you take a different aspect of, like, take a record label and think about what is the best possible version of a record label, or what's the best possible version of streaming? What's the best possible version of how musicians can interact with social media in a way that's great for people who are consuming that, but also great for them, where they feel like they're being nurtured and valued, and again, compensated for their effort. So I'm going to take a breather for a second because I got pretty excited there. But would love to hear from you if you have any ideas in the chat. Would love to hear it. Okay. So I'm just checking the chat now. So Mijo mentions, if artists can live off this system's definitely perfect. Yeah. More things get shared between artists and their audience. No company gets money from, let's be honest, not doing much. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Mijo. Positive impact on mental health, especially during COVID lockdowns. Yeah, for sure. I think musicians really helped people through that time, and then I think the time passed and then everyone forgot. Currently another group for a band called Under the Rug. They have a very open, loving culture. Oh, okay, cool. I'd love to hear more about that. Reduce the focus on the usability of the artist to the label. Yep. Don't jinx us. I would die without music. Yes. It is one of my favorite Nietzsche quotes where he says, without music, life would be a mistake. And I think that's right. Feel naked without it. I feel I've cultivated a bit of community with Outrageous. Awesome. Great. That's great to hear, Gav. Yeah, I think so too. I love when you put up something on SoundCloud and people comment on there. I think that's such a great feature of SoundCloud. Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next part here. So creating contrast. So I just want to continue to sort of compare these things of the industry versus what I'm calling sort of like the tribe or community. Because when you think of a tribe or a community, you do think about, a group of people who are relating in a way that is fair and balanced overall, and that everyone plays a particular role and everyone fits in that circle. Everyone contributes something to it, and that's what makes it work. And I feel like the reason I created that as a circle in the industry as this like pointed thing is like all the value just goes up this pyramid up to the industry. It just gets like vacuumed up, and it's not reciprocated. So here we go. So the industry, I would say, as far as compensation goes, it's very, like I just mentioned, it's quite unbalanced and unfair, because most musicians, 95% of musicians who are signed to a label never make any money, but all the people that work at the label, they all make money every day. Every week they get paid. They just get this cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So everyone there is taken care of, except for the artist. That's, to me, a little bit unbalanced, a little bit unfair. In a tribe, it's that more balanced. It's a fair compensation. It's reciprocated. An industry focuses more on exclusivity and separateness. So that's in controlling licenses, controlling the artist and what they can do, keeping the artist away from other opportunities, or controlling what the artist does. The tribe, the community, is focused more on connection and unity, and again, reciprocation. I think I'm probably going to say that word, 100 times during this presentation, but I think that whole idea of just reciprocating is a big one. The industry is very opaque and secretive, meaning that trying to find out how much you could get paid via streaming, it's like a 5-hour research project where it should just be, it's like when you go buy a coffee, they don't just say, oh yeah, we're just going to charge your account. They tell you it's $5.50 if you get soy. It's extra 50 cents. But even with that, they're transparent. They're not like, if you get soy, we're going to charge you some extra amount. They tell you. The music industry is notoriously secretive. It's very difficult to find out anything about what things cost, and like if you're on a label, you don't know that stuff. The tribe community, it's about transparency and openness. It's really clear. It's very direct. It's and there's choice in it as well. Like with Bandcamp, if someone has a single or an album for sale, you can decide how much you want to pay for it. Actually, they can put it up for free. That's what I've been doing with my singles. They're actually free to download and to listen to, but you can pay what you want if you decide you want to. So the industry is more focused on monopoly power. So if you think about Spotify, they're really trying to like dominate the market, where the tribe or the community is more about having multiple options. And there are some platforms out there, and I feel like I wouldn't say they're in competition. There's a dynamic of, there's going to be a certain number of people go to this platform, a certain number go to this platform, but they all offer something different. And as a consumer, you should be able to choose where you want to go, depending on how you want to listen to music and engage with music. So yeah, there should be choice rather than sort of monopoly power. The industry is actually very late to innovate. If it wasn't for Spotify, we would still just be trying to make digital music illegal. That's what the industry did for just so long. They were so reluctant to go to digital music. Even the Apple Store was really slow to sort of get up and running. When there was lots of other things like file sharing and Napster and all these things happening. The industry kind of got dragged into the whole streaming thing. But when it comes to tribe or community, they're actually a lot more agile. You can move really quickly. You can be very creative. You can set up blockchain technology, crypto, NFT stuff. Like a lot of that has taken off in the sort of independent world of music. And again, that's also really transparent. There's no middlemen, all that sort of stuff. That's something I haven't added here. The industry is just full of middlemen. All these people with their nose in the trough, taking a slice of the money. Where with the tribe, it's just more direct interaction. The industry is more of a predatory ecosystem. I find that the tribe or the community, like with the Backstage Pass, it's a really uplifting ecosystem, actually. People are really supportive. They want to see you do well. They're on your side. It's empowering. It's more uplifting. The industry feels more like people are trying to extract something from you rather than build stuff into you. So, and the last one I have here is the industry uses technology to sort of lock people in, where the tribe or the community uses technology as a positive tool to connect, create more opportunities to connect. So hopefully this is sort of an example of that, where I'm using all this technology. I've got so much technology running here, so I don't have a problem with technology. It's sort of how we use it as a tool. So I've got, live streaming software going here. I've got this camera, I've got my microphone, got my sound card. We're streaming via YouTube through the back end of my own website that I've built every aspect of. And we're using a chat a chat element over here. So technology, I don't see it as a problem. We just need to use it in a tribe capacity to just enhance all the positive aspects. So before I go on, I just want to check speaking of checking the chat. All right. Yes, technology is merely a tool. Exactly. Awesome. Alrighty. Let's keep going through this. If you're still there, hope you're enjoying this. We're coming close to the end here. So if we talk about a tribe, it's sort of about choosing your tribe. So one way to do that is what you're doing right now. So if you're watching this, if you're here, part of this, you can connect with people of shared values. You be a part of that community and you exchange energy, ideas, resources, support, care, and culture in a way that benefits everyone in the tribe. We're seeing this all around us at the moment in a very accelerated way. So this is the rise of independent media, podcasting on every topic, online learning and courses, meetup groups, communities on social media, Discord, Reddit. In music, it's a rise of YouTube channels, social media, podcast, possible campaigns, email newsletters, Patreon, Bandcamp, and others. Substack, I suppose, is another one of those now. So there's lots of new platforms that are sort of getting more in line with this. And it's like what I talked about last week, where there are these two economies of sort of the large corporate. What I have just decided to now call McMusic. This is the McMusic industry. And then over here, we have the organic farmers, the farmers market, the stuff that's really healthy and good for you. And then we've got the McMusic industry. And I think for me, it's helpful to think about it in those terms so that I don't get confused about what people are up to. So yeah, access to our values tribe has never been easier or harder at the same time. So yeah, my thinking on this has evolved. Really, this idea of the 1,000 true fans. This is an essay by Kevin Kelly, which I highly recommend you check out. If you just search 1,000 true fans, Kevin Kelly, it will summarize a lot of what I'm talking about here. So to be a successful creator, you don't need millions. You don't need millions of dollars or millions of customers, millions of clients or millions of fans. To make a living as a craftsperson, photographer, musician, designer, author, animator, app maker, entrepreneur, or inventor, you need only thousands of true fans. Oh yeah, there's a link for it right there. And that's really what I'm focused on as an artist, is that tribe, which is about the depth of connection rather than just having a lot of tenuous connections to people. I always dreamed of seeing the future. Lots of Back to the Future references. All right. So here's my ultimate vision. The ultimate future vision is creating a culture that is thriving and beneficial for all people involved, will include in it higher shared values of authenticity, creativity, connection, community, involvement, growth, development, and positive impacts on everyone that engages with it. It should increase people's self-awareness of their challenges and inherent potential to create and share their own ideas and values with the group, to be accepted and encouraged by all others. It would give them the courage to pursue their own highest good through engaging with the music, conversation, storytelling, and other forms of expression. A heightened level of creative activity of different kinds from many different cultural tribes that can overlap and learn from each other, to explore deeply many ideas of what it is to be human, to connect with ourselves deeply and share that openly with others in order to learn from each other and evolve as a species. So this is a huge, epic, ultimate vision, right? And in a way, it's theoretical and it's a bit abstract. But here I'm sort of wanting to lay out what the values are to really, when we engage with music or make a decision that has to do with music and culture, we should think about authenticity, creativity, connection, community, involvement, growth, development, as well as all the other things that we love about music, which is like novelty, creativity, enjoyment, entertainment. Yeah, all of that stuff is relevant. But as far as like an industry goes, I think those are important. So in this vision, you will notice there is no talk of record labels, industry, top 40 charts, record deals, advertising, sponsorship, clicks, views, likes. None of that stuff. That stuff's okay. That stuff's part of the world, but it's a byproduct. It's a secondary thing. This is a higher vision of cooperation, collaboration, circle of virtue, fair treatment of all, and a massively improved system of developing a truly enhanced type of culture. Many of our global problems are cultural problems. We have cultural presuppositions that give us unconscious permission to act unethically. We want to rise above that and spread messages of real human experience and triumphs of the human story. That's one beautiful thing about music, is sharing these inspiring and these stories of triumphs of being a human person. The challenges as well, but often the challenges and overcoming the challenges. It's a good reminder that we're all part of the culture, that we are all always a part of the culture. Everything we do in the culture either contributes to it or it sort of degrades it in some way. We all participate through our behaviors and we can make new choices. That's very empowering. What would be your ideal creative vision? I would love to hear from you in the chat, or send me an email if you think about it. More tangible vision. The ultimate vision of a healthy creative culture where musicians and music lovers both get more of what they want out of music, and their relationship is one in which there is a thriving ecosystem of mutual support and collaboration, which is sort of what we have been saying. In this vision, musicians are able to create music that is authentic, innovative, emotionally resonant, and they're able to share their music with a supportive community of fans who appreciate and value their work. Musicians are able to earn a sustainable income from their music, allowing them to continue creating and growing as artists. That seems pretty fair. This seems like a good idea. All right, this is a lot of text in this part. At the same time, music lovers are able to discover and connect with music that speaks to their personal experiences and emotions. They're able to support and engage with the musicians who create this music. They have access to a diverse range of music and artists. They're able to discover and connect with like-minded fans and communities. There's a strong sense of collaboration and mutual benefit between musicians and music lovers. I think we've sort of covered that. All right. So some things music lovers say that they love about music is emotional connection, relaxation, entertainment, inspiration, cultural and historical significance, social connection, intellectual stimulation. This was some of the stuff that came out of the survey. What bothers them about the pop music industry? Lack of originality, repetition, no message, lack of meaningful lyrics, emphasis on image over talent, overproduction, auto-tune, commercialization, homogeneity. And what do they want from musicians? Authenticity, quality, emotional connection, creativity, consistency, growth, evolution, live performance. So you'll notice there's overlap definitely with what musicians want and the things I've sort of been talking about, advocating in the tribe of having authenticity, connection, clarity, transparency, community. Stop trying to talk fast now. This is what the major labels kind of offer. Lose creative control. Fiercely independent artists with a tribe. This is what we can have. Full creative control. Full control with how you interact with fans. Artist owns 100% of the rights to the music. The artist owns the publishing rights. The tribe supports artists' development. They nurture artists over time. All right. A consistent flow of financial support for the artist in order to make plans. Moral, community support. Oh, that should be morale, I reckon. Morale, community support and encouragement. Feeling of giving something unique and creative to a small group of music lovers. And getting feedback on music, creating music together, and a million other things. So, do we have time for a song? How are we all doing out there? That was a lot of information in that last section. Let me know what you think in the chat. Quality versus quantity. Yeah, this is something that I did want to talk about in the presentation today, but I might talk about it in the one that's coming up on Thursday. I'll be doing another live stream at 7 p.m, which will be the third part of this series, which maybe I'll talk about in a minute. I think erase the feeling of it being transactional. Yeah, interesting. I'd love to hear more about how you think about that. Yeah. How do you think you would go about doing that? What might that look like? A non-6871? Or is that you again, Gav? So, let's play a song. So I'm going to play a song called Ship in a Bottle. And I wrote this song in 2007, 8. It's a long time ago now. 15 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. And I wrote it about what I was seeing in the music industry even back then. Which is that I wrote it when I watched Australian Idol. It was, one of these talent shows. And I could see through what they were trying to do. And I sort of figured out that the music industry and the TV networks had concocted this plan, which was to take young, ambitious, impressionable, talented musicians, throw them up on a TV screen, and essentially do a audition for who was the most popular, and then tie them into a record contract so they could release that artist, have control of their catalog. But it was a proven quantity, basically. It took a lot of the guesswork out of releasing albums. The TV stations made a lot of money. The record labels made a lot of money. And I would love to ask you to name all of those extremely talented artists. I'd like you to name all of the winners of those competitions over the years. Because they've been going for 25 years now. I can probably think of 2 people who still have a career from them. And so the idea of Ship in a Bottle was that there's this industry casting out these little ships in bottles. These little fake ships. The bottle is actually the thing that was keeping it afloat. But they're throwing out all these artists into this ocean. And then all these bottles are just smashing into each other and then they're just sinking. So that's... Oh, Mikael is a non now. Okay. Gavy's right. I think we see things differently. I pay every month, but what I get in return feels more like a shared experience rather than just buying a CD. Right, okay, interesting. So you feel like there's a different type of value that you get, a shared experience value rather than just I get a CD and I own that now, but that's all I get. I support your work. I don't simply buy a finished product. Right. Yep. The artists hardly ever get to release their own material. Oh, yeah. Totally. And actually, I was going to share something. Maybe I'll share something, but I'm going to do Ship in a Bottle for you guys. Here we go. Enjoy. Carried by the currents and carried by today's current breeze. This artificial wave creator, a maker of the ghastly gust, caster of the bottles of the ghastly. Bottles will fill the sea. top debris. Sing along if you know the ooze. Anon and anon. This avaricious bottle heaver will soon come to understand. A million men build their million ships right there on the sand. One of these days we'll know it, large and large in the water, made by the hands of the millions and the men who think Our winds will prevail, filling our handmade sails. We'll contemplate which color is our favorite one, while we head for the ever setting sun. The ever-setting sun, the ever-setting sun, the ever-setting sun. Our winds will prevail, filling our handmade sails. We'll contemplate which color is our favorite one, while we head for the ever-setting sun. There you go. So, backstage member formerly known as Anon. I don't know what happened in the chat there. What is happening in the chat? Mijo. Let me know if you're having any issues in the chat there. You're just enjoying the song. Excellent. I'm just checking what's happening in the chat here. Okay. I'm coming up as Mijo. So, to change how you use the chat, if you don't know, should be a button in the corner saying sign in or something like that. It was saying something different just a second ago. And then you can select... There's also some instructions down below. Set your temporary chat name. No need to log in. Let me know if there are any issues with that. All right. So if you're watching this and you haven't registered for these sessions, I sent out a last-minute invite to the entire music, my email list. Register. You can hit that button below called register here, and that'll mean that you get invited to the next one. So go ahead and do that. Is my presentation finished, or do I have more to go? That was shipping a bottle. I think that's sort of it. So next session is Thursday, the 30th of May. That's in a couple of days' time. 7 p.m. Melbourne time. We're going to create and experience some of the deep cultural connection we've been talking about today. So some of you who are part of the Backstage Pass, you sort of know some of the things that we do. But I'm not going to give too much away at the moment, but I've just got a couple of things that I want to prepare for that. That's going to be quite fun. I'm going to share some new work, we might write some music together. I think we are going to do that actually. And basically I want to create the experience of many of the things we've been talking about. So I want to bring into that the things of culture, music, authenticity, quality, connection, creativity, consistency, growth, live performance, honesty, transparency, all of that stuff. So, I want to embody all these things I've been talking about, have also made me reflect a lot more about how I engage with music, and am I engaging in a way that I feel is ethical and more in alignment with that sort of tribe idea, and how can I be doing that differently? And I actually feel like, I'm nowhere near perfect on how I engage with the music industry. I would love to see more live music. I'd love to engage more on platforms like Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and be interacting with artists more directly myself. And so I want to be doing more of that, and I want to encourage you to do more of that, and that's what we're going to do on that next session. So I think it's going to be really nice. So I want to bring all those things into that next session. If there are any questions, drop them in the chat, but I feel like I usually go into a lot of details whenever I put any kind of presentation together. So if you have any questions though, let me know. Otherwise, we will get out of here. There aren't that many it was dense. There was definitely that last part articulating the vision. It's intense. It's dense. But I just figure, someone has to do it. And I'm not the only person doing it. I'm not saying I'm doing it in the right way or any of those things. And actually doing these sessions, part of it is that I want to understand this better myself, and then share that with other people. And it's just my perspective. And that's why I constantly am soliciting your input and your feedback, because I don't assume that I have every aspect of it figured out. And there's a lot of people out there with really, really great ideas. Yes, indeed, Gav. Gav has got lots of great ideas too. He's been thinking about this for years and years. So I think we'll leave it there. Big love, big thanks. Look forward to catching you on Thursday. And then I think we're going to do a bit of a bonus session a couple of days after that. I think next Monday, actually. Next Monday, we'll hang out again. So, big love. Peace out. See you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Let's go out here. Woo, yeah.